All right, everybody. So great to be here. My name is Brooke Rollins. Came in today to visit your beautiful state. I'm the 33rd Secretary of Agriculture. Obviously, have some incredible, amazing leaders around me, welcoming us with open arms here to Iowa. We are behind us at this incredible facility of Elite Octane. We're joined by Nick Bowdish, the president and CEO. We've just had an amazing couple of hours here touring the plants, meeting with farmers, meeting with producers, talking about how we can truly make agriculture great again as we're working to make America great again. And again, what an awesome time to be here, bringing my best well wishes from President Trump and Vice President Vance as we're here in, again, the amazing state of Iowa. I want to let Nick say a couple of words. You've been such a gracious host to us today, and we're so grateful for everything that you and the company continue to do.
Well, welcome to Iowa, Secretary. It is awesome to have a cabinet member at Elite Octane. And, we're just very, very bullish on the next 3 years with President Trump leading the way. The seeds of policy change to drive profitability for our corn and soybean farmers in this state are going to be biofuels. And so with E15, not only the legislative fix on RBP, but deeming all the infrastructure at these retailers to be compatible for E15 and get the federal bureaucracy out of the way. The pumps and the pipes are fine. Just let the product flow. That, combined with a strong RFS and RVO standards for our soybean growers, we're very bullish this administration has the farmers back and is going to deliver for Iowa.
Thank you, Nick. So well said. The amazing, my dear friend of many years, Governor Kim Reynolds, here too. Thank you. I made a promise to you and to Senator Ernst I'd get here, and I got here as quick as I could. So I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. We're honored to have you here. We get to spend the day with you, and then you get to go to the Secretary Ag Leader dinner tonight. So thanks for being on around that you'll be led by producers, saying let's go to the state of Iowa. Let's work for agriculture. So thank you for all that. Appreciate your accessibility.
Thank you, Kim.
Senator Ernst, thank you so much. It is great to have the Secretary here in the great state of Iowa today. We appreciate her attention to agriculture, to our renewable volume obligations, all that entails, and working with our biofuel producers, our farmers, and everyone across the ag spectrum. I'm so grateful. I was sharing with the group earlier that, under the former administration, we were invited exactly 0 times down to the USDA to visit about things that were important to agriculture. And already within the first month of the Secretary being in office, both Chuck Grassley and I have spent time sitting in her office with Secretary Rollins and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin talking about all ag and all regulations. So again, President Trump is already making a difference for our farmers, and the Secretary and the Administrator are listening to us and our ideas. So thank you very much.
Thank you. What a joy. And Congresswoman and Ag Commissioner and all of the great people here. I do have a quick announcement for you all, and then we'll open it up to any questions. I've got my paper because I don't want to mess anything up here. I'm happy to be here in Iowa to announce that we at USDA are releasing the funding for the Higher Blends Infrastructure Incentive Program. This funds 543 projects totaling $537 million in 29 states. I know it has an outsized impact here in Iowa, especially, which is why we waited to announce it till we're here today with all of you. So good news. President Trump is honoring our commitment to America's farmers, ranchers, and small businesses, especially here in Iowa, where corn and soy growers are crucial to supporting ethanol and biodiesel production. At USDA, we are aggressively exploring ways to unleash American energy and incentivize homegrown biofuel production. Look behind me. It's amazing what you're doing here. Our goal is to protect American farmers from retaliatory trade practices, diversify our energy supply, create jobs, and support economic growth in our rural communities. So with that, we'll take any questions.
And Secretary, can you talk about the work to get E15 year-round in more than just the 8 Midwest states?
You know, President Trump's question was E15 year-round. This is a priority of our administration. I know being here in Iowa, all my friends to the left and right of me could certainly talk at length about this, and they have to me, by the way, over the last few months. But we hear you, and we understand how important it is. And the magic, or you could say the blessing of this administration, one of my dearest friends in the world is Lee Zeldin over at EPA. Across this cabinet, we are all working together in ways that I don't believe another cabinet has ever worked together before. It is a family that has been born out of the desire to save America. And so here in the heartland, here in the very heart of America, what you all stand for, what this amazing business behind me stands for, what our farmers and ranchers stand for, is how we truly save the future of the country. And we do believe that E15 is a big part of that. We're working day in and day out, not just across the executive branch, but obviously the legislative branch too, through Congress, to ensure that we can do just that. So thank you. Anyone want to add to that? Don't want to. Okay. Next question.
What kind of aid are you looking to give farmers? Have you calculated how much aid farmers might need with tariffs? There was $23 billion, I think, during the last term.
That's right. So under President Trump's first term, during the trade and tariff renegotiations, then Secretary Perdue used what was called the CCC funds to help make whole any farmers that were penalized or hurt during these tariff negotiations. My hope and prayer and goal is that we don't have to use those again, that in fact these tariff renegotiations will be so positive on the front end for our farmers and our ranchers and our ag community. And I have been very involved, perhaps much more so than any ag secretary, in those discussions. But we won't see what the final, the next step is April 2nd, which is in 2 days, but then there will be multiple steps after that. But if necessary, we are ensuring that we are set up, we have the infrastructure ready to make whole again what that will look like. But right now it is to be determined.
Do you know when you'll make that decision?
It really depends on what April 2nd looks like, what the president will be announcing on April 2nd on Wednesday. Today's Monday. And then we're ready to go any which way. We've got an amazing team on the ground, the same team that built out the first program under Secretary Perdue and the first President Trump. It was one of the first phone calls I made after I got the call from President Trump about this job, as we knew tariffs were going to be a very big part of his toolkit. He has never wavered from that, either the first campaign, the first administration, the second campaign, the third campaign, and now the second administration. We knew that this was a big part of his toolkit to reinvigorate, to revivify America and our standing in the world. And so as we do that, ensuring that we put our farmers and our ranchers first is important, but all to be determined based on the decisions that are right now being negotiated.
Next question. The funding that's being released today, is any of that IRA funding, and are there any requirements or changes that need to be done to applicants?
There shouldn't be in this lane, obviously, under the president's second term. And y'all may have heard of a little group called Doge. We and Elon Musk, we are taking a wholesale look at all of government. And as I think most Americans agree, Republican and Democrat, that the federal government has gotten too big, that we shouldn't be funding grants for things like food justice and transgender farming in San Francisco, that the taxpayers of Iowa should not be funding transgender menstrual cycle studies or all the other things that we have found. So everything is under a microscope right now. We are across the government looking and figuring out how to peel a lot of that back and return power to the people, especially the incredible people out here in the country. So that's what we're looking at, all of the above, to answer your question.
Secretary,
Bill. Okay.
how
Do you
your press release on this announcement talked about not having a far left climate agenda. How do you square that when the whole driving policy behind biofuels is it has lower carbon emissions than gasoline? That's the whole basis of the policy. How do you square that with your administration, since you guys don't seem to want to support reducing greenhouse gas emissions?
Well, I would probably take issue with that question in its totality, but let me just explain. The president has been very clear since 2015, when he came down the escalator, that the climate-driven Green New Deal, cutting deals with the Paris Climate Accord, cutting deals with Europe and all across the world, that basically compromises America at every turn, that is not what the taxpayers should be funding. And while we see program after program after program that funds a lot of that, for example, the solar power, which is basically Chinese-driven equipment that comes here that actually doesn't work. Listen, I'm from Texas. I mean, energy is a big part of our world down in Texas, and will continue to be. So I think that it's important to realize that the importance of biofuels, the importance of ethanol, is a lot more than just bringing down greenhouse gases. It's about energy diversity.
So there shouldn't really need to be a policy.
Energy independence.
Adding value to what we make and supporting.
So there doesn't need to be a federal policy for biofuels if there's no need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, right?
Well, we're not going to get into a debate right now. I mean, the bottom line is we've got to put America first. And in putting America first, that means putting our taxpayers first. And should our taxpayers be funding to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, all this idea of bringing down, by 0.000% greenhouse gases, the idea of ethanol in our corn growers and our soybean growers is to diversify our energy to allow us to become energy independent again, which, by the way, under the last administration rolled back and is part of a larger national security effort, while at the same time supporting our incredible farmers and ranchers across this country. Thank you. Next question.
What are we seeing with the Farm Bill?
So the Farm Bill obviously is of utmost importance. It has failed now to get through Congress, and I'll let Senator Ernst talk about that. The last 2 times under the Biden administration, that is a very, very big priority of mine to support Senator Ernst, to support Congresswoman Miller-Meeks, and to make sure that we have what we need to get the Farm Bill over the finish line. Of course, for those of you that follow this closely know it's extremely complicated. The farm part of the Farm Bill is only about 15 or 18%, and you have to have 60 votes to get it through the Senate, which means that we need about depending on the Republicans, between 10, 12, 13 Democrat votes. So there's a lot of conversations that have to go on, a lot of negotiations that have already happened, but I'm already talking at length regularly with our elected officials to see what we can do, how we can deploy President Trump and our White House and our administration, and also our great governors across the country to get a farm bill passed. I don't know, Senator, if you...
I absolutely do. And we've got Congresswoman Miller-Meeks here, Congressman Zach Nunn. We will continue working on this. It is very important that we get it over the finish line. Senator Grassley and I both serve on the Ag Committee. A farm bill is top priority. Under the last administration and under Debbie Stabenow as chair of the Ag Committee in the Senate, Democrat from Michigan, our farm bill had grown in cost from over $800 billion in the last farm bill to $1.5 trillion. And less than 20% of that so-called farm bill actually addressed farm programs. So the goal now in Congress is to get more farm in the farm bill and provide a package that actually works for our rural communities, for the farmers, for the ranchers. So we hope to get that done very soon, but it is a very complicated process. But I'm glad that we have a president that says we need to support our farmers, put more farm in the bill.
Congressman Nunn, this is your area, right? Do you want to mention anything on that?
Well, first of all, Brooke, I appreciate you coming out here. Look, more than half the Iowa delegation sits on the Ag Committee between the House and the Senate. The great part about the House was last year, we were able to get a farm bill through that included more priorities for Iowa than any other delegation in the entire country.
This is true.
And this is the good part. We have a framework here that works. We're ready to work with the Senate. Senator Ernst and Senator Grassley are both part of this team. And ma'am, you just being out here and helping lead this charge, bringing attention to this, that's what's going to help get the Farm Bill forward. An Ag Secretary who actually is concerned about farmers and what it means for their future.
Thank you, Congressman. Did you want to say?
I would say the same thing. We worked very diligently, very hard on the Farm Bill. It got stopped by the Senate. So despite all the criticism that was levied at Republicans, it was stopped in the Senate by Senator Stabenow. We know that. But we need a Farm Bill that works for farmers, that is ag. And in reference to biofuels, let me just say, American energy dominance includes biofuels.
Amen. Thanks.
Secretary,
One more.
Brett,
Yes, sir.
with Brownfield,
Brent.
any updates on USDA's response plan with high-path avian influenza at this time?
Yeah, and I know Iowa, I think, is the most affected state in the country, followed second by Ohio, obviously on avian high path and bird flu, the common name. So about a month ago, we rolled out a pretty significant plan. It included 5 parts. First, biosecurity measures. I know we've already invested a lot here in Iowa with your poultry farmers. Number 2, a much more quick pathway to repopulation, getting the chickens back in, trying to roll back any regulations. Number 3 was actually a deregulation effort, not just on repop, but on allowing our poultry farmers, and actually we put our pork farmers in there too, to get their product to out the door much more quickly, which under the Biden administration, a lot of new rules have been passed to slow them down. Number 4, short term, we're importing eggs from other countries to bring the cost of eggs down. And then number 5, which is the long-term plan, is about $100 million into research into what is the solution, looking at the way we're depopulating, looking at what the vaccine opportunities are, looking at what therapeutics look like so that we can begin to really solve this issue. As most of you may know, especially because we're in Iowa, the first emergence of this avian high path was about 10 years ago, kind of popped its head up and went away. And then it came back with a roar about 2 years ago. And since then, it has not gone away. I am not here necessarily to throw a prior administration under the bus, but I will say that not much was done in those 2 years when it popped its head up in 2022. So we're working really hard. I wish I could tell you we have a silver bullet. We know how to solve it. Certainly the price of eggs have come down. Certainly the avian flu has sort of decreased, but as we move into the migration season, we may see it come back up. But we are working day and night. And my message to the amazing poultry farmers here in Iowa is that we've got your back, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that you, really all farmers, are able to do what you do best, which is farm the land, produce the fuel and the fiber and the food for not only America, but for the world. And that's what we'll continue to do every minute of every day of every week of every month while President Trump is in office.